Hi there, Rossie Stone here from Deco Comics, going to be teaching you some more maths techniques and numeracy techniques in a way that you can turn it into fun or activities or just learn in alternative ways that speak more to your strengths if you struggle with words and numbers. This video of Numeracy Week, I just want to focus on money in particular. Money can be quite a tricky thing to get your head around when you're just tackling that for the first time. You know, how to add it up and manage it and take away from it, etc. There's lots to take in when it comes to dealing with money. So let's get straight into it and think of ways in which we can make that really fun and interesting and into a sort of fun, easy to pick up activity that we can apply anytime when we're learning about money or doing money maths for our homework or schoolwork. So let's do a comic to begin with, because as you know, I'm from Deco Comics, and that's all about turning school information into simple comic strips. And I'm going to do a stick figure comic, so it's really simple. All you need to draw is stick figures. You don't even need to draw them particularly well. It's just, the tools we're going to be using here are storytelling and what else? Storytelling and visuals. So this will be fun and enjoyable. It's using a comic as well naturally breaks up the information for you, and by using a story about money, it can suddenly become a whole lot more interesting than just reading a question from a textbook about John had this much money, he wants to give some to Susie, how much does he have left? You know, that stuff will put me to sleep anytime. So yeah, I'm actually not happy with these boxes. I'm going to do the boxes again here. I'll do it a lot more simply. This can be a lot easier for people who've never done comic panels before, but essentially you can break them up into dividers like that. So, a stick figure comic about money. So let's say we're trying to teach about money management and how much money you're left with after taking a lot of it away. We can start off a story with a stick figure who's happy because they've just earned £10. We can call this one Charlie and this one Monica. And she's warning him. So Charlie's saying, you know, haha, I'm rich. And Monica's warning him, and you can put all these you can put the speech bubbles and dialogue in yourself. But she's basically warning him, or you don't even need it. You can even just explain what's happening in the story to who you're teaching it to, or if you're doing this for yourself, you can know what they're saying in your own heads. Anyway, so Charlie's walking away with £10. Monica's warning him not to spend too much, or not to spend it all at once, that he should save it so that he can save it up for something he really wants one day. And Charlie says, yeah, that's no problem. But Charlie happens to pass along the way a hot dog stand, and they are selling nice tasty hot dogs, and the person who's working there gives him a hot dog, of course, and the hot dogs that are there cost £2.50. So as this guy gives him the hot dog, you can have minus £2.50 come up, reminding us that he's now not got £10 anymore, he's got £2.50 less. And Monica, maybe in the background, can be smacking her head or, you know, face palming, knowing that he's already going against what he said he wouldn't do. So Charlie's bought a hot dog. It's cost him £2.50. But then Charlie, and this is the great thing about using story. Story gives a natural structure to a lesson or a scenario in which you're trying to learn this stuff and really get your head around it. So Charlie then foolishly, while eating the hot dog, he spends a bit of extra money on some extra mustard because there's a good deal for it going. So you can use colour as well, of course. He puts on some extra mustard. Extra must. But that is, let's say, 70p. And so that's minus 70p on his mustard. 0.70, and that reminds the people you're doing this with or the people doing it for themselves, that 70p can look like 0.70 and not just 70p like that. But anyway, so he squirts on some extra mustard, thinking he's still got plenty of money. Yeah, that's no problem. But, you know, mustard on my hot dog is important. And then, it's not over yet, because as he's eating the hot dog, his mouth's getting a bit dry, and he needs something to wash it down with. So he's got his mustardy hot dog there. And while he eats it, munching away, he spends some of his change on a drink. A hand comes out, giving him a drink of Coke. And this Coke is going to cost, let's say £1.89. You know, you can vary up the maths, make it nice and tricky. So £1.89, and that can have, you can have a negative 189 coming up there to show that he's spending that too. And meanwhile, Charlie's just thinking, oh, this is going to be fine, but of course, obviously I need a drink, otherwise this hot dog's going to be very hard to eat. So in the next panel, it can be after he's eaten. So finally he's had enough from the hot dog stall, and he's maybe lying on a bench now. Lying on a bench, the big belly, absolutely stuffed. Monica is not impressed. She's angry that he's been so irresponsible with his money, having only just earned it. But he's so stuffed and heavy that he doesn't want to move, which is kind of funny. So he ends up getting a taxi back. And so that he doesn't have to walk too much because he's too full. So the taxi is going to cost money. And let's see, yes. And so the taxi is going to cost money, so maybe we can write the price of the taxi on it. So the taxi for that journey can be £5.60, so minus £5.60 above it. Anyway, when Charlie gets home, he's chuffed. You know, he thinks he's had a great day. He's been paid. He's still happy about the £10 he's earned. And he thinks, yeah, I spent it on a little treat for myself, but you know, I've earned it. You know, I earned that money. Why not? And I've still got plenty of money for later. But then Monica reminds him, she asks him, so exactly how much money do you have? And then Charlie suddenly realizes, as he looks through his wallet, to his shock, maybe a moth flies out of it. It's not that he spent it all, but how much money does he have left? He only has, let's do a different color for it. He only has, let's see, let's add that up now. Well, that would be part of the maths. You would then have to add up how much money has been taken away since he's been on that spending spree. So £10, take away £2.50 in the second panel, take away 70p, take away £1.89, take away £5.60, means he's actually lost 69p. So that can be a great way to teach. I'll make that a bit less messy. But that's a great way to teach how, if you're not careful, you can end up losing money. If you're not careful, you just keep spending things at a whim, thinking that you've got plenty of money just because you had it in your hand at the beginning. It also teaches you about the maths of taking money away. And you could even add bits to the story. You can maybe add here that he gets a bit of money, a bit of extra money for something. Maybe he gets a bit of pocket money, but he's still upset because he's at a loss. But now it's as a story, particularly one that you get to write yourself, it's so much more interesting. And it doesn't even need to be as simple as a guy called Charlie getting paid and then spending too much. It could be, if you like writing fantasy stories or action stories, it could be a story where figuring out how much money someone has is pretty important. You could be trying to stop a villain from stealing lots of money, and every bit that villain steals, you have to add that amount of money to the amount he's claiming he's going to steal. And that can be part of the story, and the story can be trying to stop him and take that money off him and put it back in the bank or something. But it can be anything. But this is a very simple example. Anyone can do this. Very simple comic to make. If tackling maths or motivating yourself to get your head around maths, if you're a pupil, or if you're teaching this to someone and you're finding it hard of how to demonstrate it to them, making a little stick figure comic strip and allowing them to make it about anything they like is a really useful way to do it. So you could use the simple Charlie example for them and then allow them to make their own based on whatever they feel like. It can include their favorite TV shows or game characters in their story, whatever it works. But story gives you structure, visuals give you reference, and humor or anything funny like this panel here, that gives you an extra thing to remember a point by, but also it increases motivation because it's fun. So that's how you can use a comic. So give it a try. Treat it to begin with as a fun experiment, as a fun teaching lesson, but you'll see how well it works. And then after that, I would just dare you to keep trying it out and try and introduce it into your mainstream teaching, because it is very effective. It has a much wider audience than just reading and working things out from the worksheet. It will help kids get better at working things out through a worksheet because it will improve their confidence and their enjoyment with maths. And also it just allows kids to use their imagination, which is a very powerful tool. Once you get them using their own imagination, they do the rest of the work for you. You know, half the job is already done. So take it from me in my workshop experience that I've been teaching this technique with. So thank you very much for listening. I hope this is useful, and have a great time during Numeracy week.